Okay, listen up. I know I've been away for a very long time, but I've got some really cool news for you guys, and I know you're gonna enjoy it. So stick around, and I'll tell you all that has happened in the past 20 days that I've been away. I've been working really hard on several different projects of mine, and the first result of that is drumroll! I am open for commissions! Yeah, you heard that right, people. Yours truly is open for commissions. What kind of commissions you guys are asking? Well, I do designs for three different things. Number one, book covers. Number two, cards. And number three, printable tote bag designs. If you check the link in the description box below, which links you to my official art store on Instagram, you will get more information regarding the types of commissions I do, the payment, as well as terms and conditions. So if you're interested, you can send me a DM on Instagram and follow me for more updates. Yep. And now on to today's topic. We're gonna review Agatha Christie's mystery classic, And Then There Were None. I think this is the second book review I'm doing. I don't know if we count the previous video where I somewhat reviewed my own story, Man in Black, which is now on Wattpad and on WordPress. I'm gonna be putting their links in the description box below. Do check it out and leave your comments. It's a fun story, by the way. So for today's review, I'll try to stay away. I'll try to avoid spoilers as much as possible, but I cannot guarantee if what I'm going to say counts as a spoiler or not. So it's best that you be warned that there could be spoilers. I'm not sure if there will be, but there could be. Maybe you're gonna hear something that could be considered a spoiler by you. Maybe it's not gonna be considered a spoiler. So, just in case, spoiler alert. So I would begin by a brief introduction to our author right here, who is none other than the queen of crime herself, Dame Agatha Christie. Dame Agatha Marie Clarissa Christie, Christie being her first husband's family name, was an English novelist of the golden age of detective fiction. Dubbed the Queen of Crime, she is the best-selling fiction author of all time according to Guinness Book of World Records, with her books selling more than 2 billion copies worldwide. Born to an upper-middle-class family in Devon, England in 1890, she was an avid reader from an early age, enjoying works by authors such as Charles Dickens, Alexandre Dumas, and Walter Scott in her adolescence. At age 10, she wrote her first poem titled The Cowslip. Now, I'm not gonna go too deep into her life because this lady had a lot of cool things going on for her. However, a few important things you need to remember are her first marriage to Colonel Archibald Christie, her first husband, her military service during World War I, and her marriage to archaeologist Sir Max Mallowan. And why I say you should remember these? Well, here it goes. Agatha's maiden name was Miller, and when she married Archibald, what is with his name? Wait, is it Archibald? Archibald. Okay, and when she married Archibald in 1914, she took her husband's name and became known as Agatha Christie, which is the name that we know her for today. Even after divorcing him in 1928, she kept writing and publishing under that name until her death in 1976. Dang, she lived a very long life. Another interesting thing to note is that Archie here was in the military and was sent to fight in France when World War I broke out. Agatha Christie also got herself busy during this war period as she volunteered as a nurse and then she worked as a dispenser as part of the Red Cross. Working as a dispenser, which is like the kind of like the old-fashioned term for pharmacist, like they would give medicine and stuff. So as I was saying, working as a dispenser gave her ample pharmaceutical knowledge about how different medications and poisons functioned, which she used a lot in her novels. So when you see any mention of poisons and stuff like that, which come up a lot in her mysteries, it's because she knows what they are. She really knows what they are. After her divorce from Archie in 1928, she married archaeologist Max Mallowan in 1930. She accompanied him on many archaeological expeditions and digs in the Middle East, which served as the setting for many of her famous novels such as Murder in Mesopotamia and Death on the Nile. On January 12, 1976, Agatha Christie died at the ripe old age of 85. See, I told you she lived a very long life. She left behind her 74 novels, 3 poems, 16 plays, 2 autobiographies, and 28 collections. Oh, and she died a rich woman too. Goals. Before I continue, I would just want to put a little disclaimer that this book was published in the 1930s and 40s, so some of what you will hear will be considered problematic by today's standards. Hope YouTube doesn't take down this video. And Then There Were None is a standalone mystery and psychological thriller first published in 1939 in the UK and 1940 in the US. And the reason why I'm calling this a standalone novel, it's because it's not part of any of the Agatha Christie mystery series such as the Miss Marple series or Hercule Poirot mysteries or Tommy and Tuppence. So the original title of the book was 10 Little N-Word, and it's based on the poem and minstrel song of the same name. The poem is an important part of the story as it establishes how the plot would go. The title and the poem were changed a few times to omit the insensitive racial slur. By her own admission, Agatha Christie describes the book as so difficult to do, where 10 people had to die without it becoming ridiculous or the murder being too obvious. And in my opinion, she did one heck of a great job, because dang, this one was stressful and a creepy story to read. The story follows 10 individuals who are invited to an island by a mysterious person by the name of Mr. Owen. None of the people actually know who Mr. Owen is, nor do they know each other at all. But as they spend more time together at the lovely house on the scenic island out of the coast of Devon, they begin to die one by one. Naturally, they try to get off the island, but they realize that there are no ways to escape and they were stuck. Soon, the seemingly relaxing holiday turns into a deadly race against time as the survivors try to figure out who the killer is. Who could be any one of them? It isn't until the end of the story where we would know who the killer is, but the reveal happens in the most unexpected way, a classic technique Agatha Christie was known for. So the 10 invitees are Anthony Tony Marston, an irresponsible and reckless young guy. Thomas and Ethel Rogers, the butler and cook, who were hired by Mr. Owen to receive the guests and to maintain the house while he was away. General MacArthur, a retired World War I hero. Emily Brent, a religious spinster. George Armstrong, a doctor. William Bloor, a former inspector. Philip Lombard, a soldier of fortune, aka a mercenary. Vera Claythorne, a sports mistress. And the final guest, Justice Wargrave, a retired criminal judge. I think this is the first Agatha Christie novel I read that isn't involved with Poirot or Miss Marple, two series that I usually read. Unlike the Poirot or Marple books, the tone in this book was different. It was darker and leaned more towards a psychological thriller than a typical detective mystery novel. There isn't really a detective on the scene to crack the case and find the killer. The crimes keep happening, and it isn't until the very end that we find out who the real culprit is, along with an explanation of their motive and method. I think that this was a quite unique style of writing because it keeps you on the edge of your seat as you struggle along with the characters in the story to find the killer before it's too late. Because this is a psychological thriller, the book did really well with creeping the heck out of me. It starts all nice and cuddly with the characters happy to be on this lovely island, but soon turns into a nightmare as the killer, who seems to know each character's dark past, kills them off one by one. And how does he kill them, you may ask? First of all, he haunts them. He brings up their past, taunts them with it, and then when they are in the most vulnerable position, he strikes. I'm really impressed at how creatively she was able to create each murder and link it to the poem, which is the center of the story. In addition, and true to her reputation, Agatha Christie managed once again to hide the criminal. Because each character had their own past evil sins, it was plausible that any of them could have the strength to pull off the murders. But since the motives were almost vague to non-existent, it was hard to actually put a pin on a suspect. Also, I deeply suspect one of the characters, but I don't know, it's like she read my mind or something, because she quickly dismissed that notion. And guess what? The person that I thought was the killer ended up being the killer. Ah, she got me again. I mean, she isn't called the Queen of Crime for no reason. Overall, I give this book a score 10 out of 10 for the creativity and suspense value, the characterization, and the twist at the end. Highly recommended. And there you have it, guys, my review of And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. Do you guys like reading detective mysteries and thrillers? Let me know in the comments below. By the way, you know what? More research into the story showed that apparently the book is very similar to a 1930 novel by the name of The Invisible Host, written by Gwen Bristow and Bruce Manning, who are a wife and husband team. The story's plot revolves around 8 people who are invited by an anonymous invitation to a penthouse in New Orleans. Even elements such as the voice recording that announces the guests' doom and their deaths one by one in the booby-trapped house are existing in Agatha's story. The story also bears resemblance to a 1933 film based on Arthur Conan Doyle's A Study in Scarlet. But there isn't really much proof that shows that Agatha has seen or heard or read any of those. So, I don't know. What do you guys think, huh? Also, apparently, this story, And Then There Were None, is one of the best-selling crime novels. In fact, no, it's the best-selling crime novel of all time, and is one of the best-selling novels. It has sold more than 100 million copies worldwide, and it was so influential that legit many countries have adapted it into either film or television series. If we sat here and talked about them, we'd be here until tomorrow. Also, one of the most popular adaptations was the 1945 film, and I watched that, and to be honest, it wasn't really that great of a film, because they changed some of the storylines, they changed some of the characters, but while the main theme of the story was present, I just didn't like. Oh my god, they ended it with a happy ending. It was like your typical Hollywood happy ending. I'm like, why? Okay, 2 of the characters actually survive. Yes, I spoil it for you because I don't want you to suffer. Nobody actually, like, I don't know, because in the original story everyone dies, but then in the Hollywood version it's like 2 people survive. Why? And then there's a romance between them. Oh my god. Okay, so yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and may we meet again. Bye bye.